What's up guys, Bark here today, and today I'm going to be talking about the GTX 950, the Asus Strix version base clocks, not the overclock version. This is the one that I do own at the moment, so obviously I can get a better impression. I thought I'd wait till I'd had the GPU for around a month now before I started doing a review on it. Now, first of all I'm going to talk about the price and performance. I paid around £130 for it from Curry's PC World in the UK. Now, at the current time, Amazon and Curry's had it at the same price, which Curry's normally advertising for about £10 more. But because of the same price, I thought it's easier for me to go and drive to PC World, go and pick it up, then I can have it straight away instead of having to wait for Amazon to deliver it to me. Now you might be thinking, oh, what's the point? What's the point? Well, I thought my PC's up to par with CPU and I mean, the RAM's okay. The one thing that is a problem is the storage and the speed of the storage. But at the end of the day, the 950 was, to me, was a good enough fit. I was looking at the R7 370 and the 950 beat it, and I believe that the R7 370, I don't think it was much difference in price. I think it was just slightly over, but obviously you can get the MSI R7 370 4GB version, which, I mean, I don't know if there's any point to it, honestly, because what's the point about having a GPU with, yeah, it's got 4GB video RAM, which is useful, but what's the point of having the 4GB version if it's not able to utilize that 4GB RAM? Because to use that 4GB sorry, 4GB video RAM, you have to be able to run the game at the high settings. I think it's more until you get to something like the 960, 970 or the R9 380. I think it's pretty much just it's a gimmick. I think to have a 4GB version of it. So I thought if I go for the GTX 950, better performance than the R7 370, and I thought it's better to just go for something that's got better performance and it can actually utilise the actual full video RAM it's got. Now there are certain games that it will not struggle on, more for the fact you won't be able to get to the high settings like, I mean, Rainbow Six Siege, I like the game to run at 60 FPS, so what I've changed my settings to is around high settings with a couple on medium and a couple of the anti-aliasing down. Now it does dip below 60 FPS, but it doesn't get to the fact that it's always at 30, which the high settings probably are. But what I have found is that the GTX 950 is stable on every game. You can expect to buy a game and be able to play. Even Ark Survival Evolved, after changing a couple of things and overclocking a slight bit, it runs the game perfectly fine over 30 FPS, around 40-50 FPS on around medium to high settings, which to me is a quite achievement really for the fact it's a quite unoptimized game. Well, obviously, when I did mention the overclocking potential, I will speak about that now. And if I was to look at now, I'll talk about the overclocking potential. Now, with the Asus Strix version, its main selling point with the graphics card, and obviously Asus's main selling point, is the cooling system of the GPU. Now, if you haven't got a good cooling system for your GPU, then you will find that most of the time, if you try and overclock the GPU, or if you look at the stats of MSI Afterburner, the card, it is a high temperature really. It will go to a very high temperature, which can, in the long term, can really affect your graphics card. Now, GTX 950 Asus Strix ticks the box on being able to overclock quite simply and easily, and I found that in a video that I did watch where somebody linked me to the Guru 3D, I believe that's what the site was, where they did the GTX 950, and that's where I mainly got my overclocking settings from. If you was to search that into, put Guru 3D and GTX 950 Strix for the Asus, and if you went in the overclocking section, if you actually went down, you would actually see on the increase on FPS. So from their version of the overclocked, on Hitman Absolution, it actually went from 50 FPS to 56, and in 2K, 2K settings, the 1440p, that's the one. it increased the FPS again by another 6, which, you know, is quite amazing. And then the actual overclocked version on the 3D Mark Fire Strike, they actually managed to get it only 24 points away from a GeForce GTX 770, actually destroying a GTX base clock of GeForce GTX 960. Now, to me, that is absolutely amazing for an overclockability of a card. But obviously, the low CUDA cores means that the GTX 960, even though if it may not have a higher mark, it can still on other games perform better, which doesn't matter because obviously it is a better card and you are going to expect it. So don't buy this card thinking you are going to be better than GTX 960, because obviously you won't. But with overclocking, tick the box, mate, because worth it. Worth every penny really for the overclocking potential of the video card. It will get you extra FPS. If you are playing a game and thinking, oh, I need more FPS, but you haven't got this version, or you're looking for a GTX 950, then this is the one to go for. Now, my overall impressions after about a month of using the card is love it. No matter what anyone says about the GeForce GTX 950, it's not a mobile GPU at all, because it performs well on anything. My other videos with Witcher 3 and so on, they really do prove that this card can run what you want it to run. I haven't found a game yet where it will not run, so as far as I'm concerned, that is a win. If you're looking for a budget card, which this obviously is, then by all means go for this card. It will run amazing for you, and I can promise you that you will be happy with the card. Later in the day you may want to get a better one. By all means go for it, because that is what, you know, eventually it will go to do. This 950 won't last forever, but at 1080p the GPU does run perfectly fine. Any higher than 1080, you know, you can still play some games at decent settings. Like I've watched a video on I can't remember the channel, but he played Battlefront, sorry, on 1440p and still getting around 40 to 50 FPS on around medium to high settings, which, you know, it's not expected for a 1080p card. So that's my basic review of a card after owning it for a month. Now, if you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, and see ya.